Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. Crazy them because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hi, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. How are you? Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a very, very special topic that we want to talk about tonight, dementia and Alzheimer's. So if you have someone in your family or you have a friend that's, going through this with a family member with dementia, make sure you call them and tell them to join us in the conversation tonight. We're going to have our guest introduced now by my co-host, Dr. Vanessa V. Danzine. Hello.
Hello, Lottie. Good evening, everyone. Our special guest tonight is Miss Lynette Marshall-Harper. She is known as the Real Money Strategist. She is a seasonal professional with 25 years of financial leadership, a CFO, financial life coach, realtor, author, and speaker. Let's welcome my guest tonight, Miss Lynette Marshall-Harper.
Hi. Thanks.
Hello there, Miss Harper.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me to your show. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for coming. As you know, you wrote this book, Dementia Sucks.
Yes.
A lot of that is taking place now. I don't know. It seems to be on the rise, dementia. I don't know if it's because of all the stress. I don't know if it's all the chemicals in the food that we're eating, but it is on the rise. And some of us have been dealing with family members that have this. And your book that you wrote, Dementia Sucks, is a real good, book to read, because everything, even though it's a sad situation, sometimes it is laughter in it. Sometimes, you have to go along with the program and laugh with what's going on with the family member, just to help survive. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for coming on and, talk about your journey of dementia with your mother. So, let's tell us a little bit about yourself first before we get into your book.
Okay, so as you know, my name is Lynette Marshall-Harper. I am a financial and life coach. So I help people to be financially free. I'm a realtor, so I help young folks, any kind of folks who want to, buy real estate and invest so they can be financially free. I'm an author, and I just love to help people. The reason I wrote this book was because I wanted people to know the journey I have with my mom. In 2022, research shows that 6.5 million people over age 65 is living in America with dementia. And my mom and my aunt happen to be part of that statistic. My aunt died in 2020 from dementia. My grandmother died in 1996 when I was 6 months pregnant with my youngest daughter with dementia. And my mom is currently living with dementia in a nursing home. So when I say sucks, it truly sucks. Yes. And I wanted to share my journey with the hopes that something that might have happened to me, someone might see it and say, hey, it's not too far-fetched.
Mm-hmm. So Lynette, what did you notice as some of the signs at the beginning that your mother was starting to get dementia? Because sometimes signs be there, but we just don't pay it any attention. We just, how you say, like, they kind of off the rocker and laugh about it or something like that, because you're not really paying attention that this could be something really serious.
So one of the things with my mom is she would call me and tell me the same thing. We would have the same conversation the same way more than once in a day. So sometimes she could call me in the morning, then call me back in the afternoon and say, girl, did I tell you? And it would be the same exact story. Mm-hmm. Or so my mom had a daycare. She used to take care of kids. And so she started forgetting to change the babies. And one of the parents who knew me called me and said, I think something is going on with your mom, because your mom is a pretty clean person and she always keep the babies clean. But I noticed like the diapers haven't been changed and stuff
Right.
like that. So she started forgetting stuff.
Right.
And she would cook on Sundays before she goes to church, and she forgot the food and almost burned the kitchen down. So some of the early signs is if they're telling you the same thing over and over, the same exact way, that's probably a sign that something is going on. Because we forget, right? We all forget. As we get older, you know, you forget. Your brain shrinks about 5% every 10 years. So after 5.
So you mentioned that there's 6.5 million people that's living with dementia, right?
Yes.
Those are the ones that's only registered under over age 65. Okay. But like Lottie said, dementia is coming, it's being more defined and really noticeable in people much younger than that. Yes. So the statistics could technically be much higher than that.
Higher than that, yes.
So, but you mentioned that there's your mom, your aunt, your grandmother. Do you think this is some genetic
I think it is. So when this all started happening, and I will tell you, if you're going through something like I've been through where you have history in your family, it's only normal for you to start thinking, dang, I might have it. And then you start forgetting. He was like, dang, am I getting dementia? The kids thought I was going crazy. So I went through that stage. And so I joined a study here in Washington, D.C. by Howard University Hospital. And when I started the study, one of the things was they ask you all these questions, you go through all these tests, and then before you get to see if you were accepted, they do a blood draw and they check your blood. And so they're looking for the APOE genetic testing. And if you have 2 of the E4 genes, it's a higher risk for you to develop dementia. So when they check my blood, fortunate for me, I did not have the tickers they were looking for.
So you can, through the blood test, they can detect when it's hereditary or
if you have the gene.
Just get it.
If you had the gene, that would be a higher factor of you probably getting dementia or Alzheimer's. So now, Lynette, I don't have it, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't get it later. Right. Yes.
So now once you started noticing everything, you saw your mother was, changing and everything. What did you start doing? Like, how did you, start managing this?
Okay. So in the early stages, the one thing I did is I got power of attorney for my mom, which is very important because as long as she's alive now, I get to be her voice when she can't be her voice.
Exactly.
So when you see you have to have these conversations. We as Black and brown people, we don't like to talk about dying and sickness, but you have to. And so when I started having to go to take my mom to the grocery stores because I was afraid that she would, drive and get lost and, just giving her permission. It's okay. You can drive to church because I know she would have some friends and church is not that far, but that's the only place she would drive. I would take her to the supermarket every other week. So I was like, Mom, listen, if something happened to you, the only way I can speak for you is if I do a power of attorney. So we did that very early on. The other thing I think is really important, you have to know what your parents have. Do they have a will? Do they have insurance? All this other stuff. And so when my mom did go and get tested and they found out that it's early signs, the next thing you want to do is if they're living alone, try not to have that. Have someone go check on them, live with them, something. Fortunately for my mom has someone living with her to help her. So that was helpful. So there's someone in the house. She's not by herself. So when people come knocking on the door trying to solicit, that person was able to prevent it, because when you get to that stage too, people would take advantage of you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that, I have a friend, she has her mom phone where when they get calls, she get a call. And because they will take advantage of you over the phone too. And so you have to, when you see these early signs, you as the person who's seeing it, put things in place to help. You can't force it on them. You have to be very strategic and, have a conversation. Like,
Right.
I know, like I did with my mom, if something happened to you, I'm 45 minutes away. At least I can call the phone. I can show proof that I'm your power of attorney. I can speak for you.
Absolutely.
And so.
No, and it's important to, that you have, it's unfortunate you had experience, but it's important because you have kids, right? And they're able to see what you're going through, what to expect, and you can educate them on dementia. And
Right.
But another thing, we just got, well, I wouldn't say we're out of a pandemic, but during the pandemic, COVID, and a lot of things and institutions and hospitals, other places were shut down. How was it not being able to see your mom when she most, would need you most?
March 17th, 2020. That was the weekend. They shut me down. Thankfully, my mom's nursing home was ahead of the game. We couldn't go in. If you wanted to see them, you had to go out the window. I wasn't doing that because my mom was in probably she was in a severe stage, so she could still sit up and stuff, but she was getting towards the worst stage. And so not being able to touch, squeeze, kiss, laugh at her jokes, nothing like that was very depressing for me. Because the one thing that we had was on the weekend, I would go and I would bed my mom as a way to keep the communication, because that's when she talked to me the most. That was our place, in the bathroom. So when the pandemic happened and I couldn't go, I couldn't wash her clothes the way I know she likes her clothes to smell, the way she liked her clothes to look. I'm now dependent on the institute to throw her clothes in with everybody else's clothes, however they smell, and I can do nothing about it. That was really hard, because the only thing I had going for me in my mother's kids was to do the things that I know she liked, to
Absolutely.
keep it closer to what she normally knows. And having the pandemic, not being able to do that, didn't know if they were cleaning her, taking care of her, because once you show up as a family member, you can see if they're taking care.
Exactly. That's why you have to be coming and checking.
Yeah, you can't see. You got to hope, So that was very hard. That was really, really hard. And then after the pandemic, she was not the same.
No. See, that's why it's crucial that family chip in and help out. So you have a rotation of somebody's going every other day or every 2-3 days or whatever. But we're gonna finish this conversation. We're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna come right back.
Okay.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon. When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. Keeping it real.
Hi, we're back. Thank you for joining us. And our special guest today is Miss Lynette Marshall-Harper. She's the author of the book Dementia Sucks. Now, Lynette, I wanted to ask you about some of your experiences. I mean, because it's a serious situation, but there are funny times of the things that they do that you really just have to laugh about it, because this is what helped you get through everything. I know when, before my mother passed, I think she was getting us a little touch of it. I could notice the signs of her personality changing. She'd be yelling at you, and you go to the store and get something, she come back, she tell you that's not what she said, and we know that's what she said and everything, and stuff like that. And then when I was dealing with my aunt, she was in the nursing home, and I was telling you before that we were sitting there looking at TV, and she stood around and started telling me about the people were talking about her on the TV. And so I'm listening to her saying that, and I'm saying, nobody's talking about you on the TV. She was like, yes, they are, you know. So here me not thinking, I said, oh, let me call the head office, and I called the nurse. I said, you don't have no TV, no cameras in her room or anything like that. And they was like, no. And then I realized what was going on. So I had to just go along with the program and say, yes, they are talking about you. They're saying, you know, you are this good person. You were saying this because, you know, you're not supposed to tell them no or tell them they wrong,
Right.
or, you know, try to act like they don't know what they're talking about or whatever. So, you know, I had to really laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know why they let Lottie had to catch herself, because they probably thought she was the patient, right?
Right.
I know, because I'm sitting there going along with the program. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, what?
Mhm.
But you know, I hear your mom has been vibrant and party and here and there, and sometimes, you know, although you see that in her, although she may not recall, but it's important, you know, to have that connection, that contact, that skin to skin, that conversation. It's like, wow, you know, it takes a lot of energy, and I commend you for that, to go there and take out the time, because we never know who will have dementia, how it would affect us. There's different stages of dementia, and the thing is really important to try to keep as much normalcy with the individual, you know, as we can.
And I think, you know, so you're gonna get some points where you have to make some decisions. Putting my mother in the nursing home was not something my mother ever wanted. However, I will say this: sometimes people who are getting dementia have good days and bad days, and you want to have conversations in the good days. My mom signed a DNR because of the state she saw her sister in, which is my aunt. She was on a feeding tube for 12 years. My mother said, I don't want that.
Right.
So she had me have her sign a DNR, do not resuscitate. This is something she wanted. So when the time comes, my siblings, there will be no conversation because it's already there, right? So you have to have these conversations. I asked my mom, look, I can't take care of you. You're going to need 24/7. I know you don't want to go in a nursing home. What are your feelings about it? I'm going to have a hard time with that for the rest of my life. But she said, you know, as long as you put me someplace clean and you come and look for me, I am good with that. But that into her head, because my mother took care, private care of people with dementia. And here it is. She now has the same disease that she took care of other people with. That's a hard blow for me. Right?
Absolutely.
Because here you are, you're helping others and you're having the same disease, right? But one of the funny things I remember about my mom, I used to send her to adult care. And that's another option you can do. The bus comes and picks her up and she goes. And she was like, girl, that bus driver, he's fine. I'm like, she said, yeah, and he married. And if his wife don't be careful, I'm gonna steal him. And me and my daughter-in-law at the time, we were dying. We were like, Mom, are you gonna steal the woman's husband? Girl, you know how fine I look? But that's the kind of person my mom was. She was funny. But she's a looker too. So you couldn't send her out to listen, she gotta be matching together, you know, the shoes, the dress, the hair. So I kind of kept that same persona when I had her put her in the nursing home. I think my mother had more clothes than anybody in that darn nursing home.
Exactly.
But you know, but it's hard, but I try to find the good in it.
Absolutely.
But see, the thing about it is, even though they're in that state and in that state of mind, what I was told at that time, because, you know, I went to find out, like, you know, stuff you should do with them and how you should work with them and how you should deal with them, because you can't deal with them like you talking just like to someone else and everything. But you try to do the same things with them, even though they might not be understanding everything you're doing, but you still try, you know, to talk to them, to do things with them, sing with them, with the music, play games with them and stuff like that. So that, you know, you'll still have that connection with them. You know, you're
Yes.
still talking to them, and you're still like bonding. You're still
Yes.
bonding with each other and
Mhm.
everything. And that's important because you can't just let let them sit over there in the corner, you know, because they don't know what's going on.
Oh,
No,
no.
you don't do that.
No.
You
'Cause
still
sometimes
do
they're in.
things with them.
Sometimes they're in. And I will tell if you have a sibling who's a brother, because I'm gonna tell you, thankfully for my brother, who he's in the military and he moved here for 3 years and he helped me. You know, and one of the things I was afraid of is like if he had to beg my mom, because I'm the girl, like how my brother surprised me.
No,
Because
they'll
he
do it.
went in there and he did
They
his
do it.
thing. And
Mhm.
I'm telling you, so as a sister, you know, for sisters who are out there listening, if you have a brother, you know, don't push it to the side because he's a guy. He might be your biggest help.
Mhm.
Let him
And sometimes they can bathe them better than you can.
yeah, let
You
them help.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and they don't feel they
Mhm.
don't look because see they're not looking at her in the sense of another woman.
Right.
They're
Right.
looking at that's
That's
your
your mom.
mother.
Your
And
mother.
if you have to bathe her and take her clothes off,
Yes.
that's what you are going to do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That helps you too, because you cannot do it by
You
yourself.
can't.
You
You can't.
cannot do it by
You
yourself.
can't.
And if
You
I don't
can't.
say anything tonight,
You can't.
please, 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 if you have to, like me,
Mhm.
put your mom in a nursing home, go visit, because the
Mhm.
squeaky oil will get the most oil. If they see you're coming and they see you're
Your
visiting,
presence.
they
Mhm.
will take very good care of the person you have in
But
there.
I'm talking about Lynette before you even get to the nursing home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they can stay at home and have the
Home.
care at home, if you have family, and
Yes,
family need to step up. I'm sick of families that don't want to step up
that's
and
the
help out and
problem,
want
though,
to put the
Lottie.
burden on that one person
That's
in the
the
family or that
problem.
one sibling in the family. If you
Yes.
have enough family members, sisters and brothers that you can all take turns taking care of the person, sometimes they can stay right in their house and be
Yes.
taken care of. You
Yes.
just coming over, you know, to stay your couple of hours or ever how many
Right.
hours, you know, your term is or whatever.
Mhm.
And you're rotated, and that way the person don't have to go in the nursing home. Is only when it gets to the point, like you said, if you
Mhm.
don't have enough help, because you
Yeah.
can't be lifting the person yourself. It's too much.
It's
You
But you know what? But you know
and
what also?
safety also.
It could be
Safety also. You
it
have
could be like a safety issue, but it could also be
Yes.
financially and mentally draining,
Yes.
right? To see your loved one in that state and you
Mhm.
feel there's nothing you can do, you feel helpless, right? You feel hopeless, you can't do things, you can't communicate. And sometimes it could take a mental toll. And sometimes families, I agree, families should step up to the plate, but you can't even get kids today to go to the store,
Yeah.
right? If anything, nevertheless, stay around and do things which take some time out of their time. And it's important, to at least know when to make the decision. And I know it's not an easy decision.
Mhm.
It's a hard decision to kind of put your mom away or your parent or father, with some time for your sanity. And this
Well,
is
you know what? Let's don't say in the sense we're gonna put them away. Let's
no,
don't
no.
say.
What I mean is that
No, I understand what you were saying, but I'm
has to
saying
be made.
let's don't use that term because we know we put them away, but we don't want to use. We'll say they go into
Yes.
live in another apartment.
Right. I don't mean like an asylum and
Well,
just
I know what you're talking
forget it.
about. I
Okay.
understand
I
what
want to
you're
make it clear for the audience because like, wait a minute.
You know what I'm saying? So this way, you know, even if we have to go to the nursing home to see them, which I hate going to the nursing home. Oh my God, I used to hate going there. I would just get mad as soon as I come through the door. I would be upset, angry, and then as soon as I walk up to the bed, and my aunt is saying, "Oh, when I didn't get this, I didn't get that," then I got to go off while I'm there. You know,
But you gotta do your due diligence. You have to do your due
Absolutely.
diligence.
you know,
You
it's
have
like,
to do. There are some good nursing homes. I will.
oh yes,
Where
oh
my
yes.
mom is clean. When she went there, was just open 3 years, and they have kept it clean. The
And
nurses
she's close
are
to
not.
home. And
She's
she's close to
25
home.
minutes from me.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good.
Okay. So
That's
I
excellent.
did my due diligence and I went and I looked at like 15 different nursing home, and none of them was not grabbing me until I saw this
Right,
particular one, and it has been clean and it has stayed that way. My mom has been in a nursing home since 2015 and it has remained clean. But the other thing I would say is safety. So one of the things, like I have stairs, and because my mom used to walk in the middle of the morning, I turned the locks backwards so she couldn't get out. So I locked her in the room. I found
Exactly.
out
Okay.
it was illegal
Okay.
Because if a fire occurs,
Start, and
she
she
could
couldn't
not
get
get out. So I was trying to make her safe
Safe.
while I'm asleep, just in case she walked.
No.
In
No, you
trying
can't.
to be safe,
Right.
I was doing something that was illegal. So I will say, you have to make sure you have no stairs. There can't,
Right.
get falling. Then the other thing was I have tubs in my room. My
Right.
mom could not step in the tub. I mean, in my house, in the tub to be showered. That's another thing you got to think about.
Right.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
beds, can the beds go up, go down?
And sometimes you may have to put a bell on the door so if they
Yeah,
open the door, you
there's
can
a
run
lot of-
outside the
yeah,
door and
there's
stuff
a
like
lot
Even
of
that.
some of the medical alert they have out there, medical alert,
Yeah.
sometimes they wander off. And I don't know how they get out of the nursing home. Who's watching them in nursing home?
Because
So,
sometimes the security is talking up, not paying attention, and they just walk
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
But you know what, Lynette, I want to say to you. This is
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
want to say to you.
Yes.
You don't feel upset, bad, or anything because you had to make a decision. The most important thing is
You're there.
that you still have her.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would give anything to go to the nursing home just to hold my mother's hand.
Yes.
Even if she can't talk or say anything back to me, at least you still have her, that you can go
I'm
there and
thankful
sit and
for
hold her hand.
I'm
Even
thankful.
though
for
she
that.
can't respond or whatever, but you still have, that connection.
Yes.
And that means more than anything. Because when that's over with, people don't know unless they have been through it. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
And I know she knows you're there. She just
Yeah.
can't express that
Exactly.
she knows you're there, but she knows you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
for me, because I know the kind of person she was, just to see her now in a vegetative state where she does not, if she would sing, if she would talk to herself, I would take that. But she's just
That's what I'm
sleeping.
saying.
And most of the time she's just asleep. She's just
That's
sleeping.
what I'm saying.
And yes.
But you know what? It's okay. She knows she had a beautiful daughter. And I thank you for writing that book.
Thank you.
And you need to get this book, Dementia Sucks,
Dementia
by
Sucks.
Lynette Marshall-Harper. You need to read it because it has some funny stuff in there as well. Some things that Ma did, things that people go through when they have dementia. And it's not all bad. I mean, we just get scared with the name and everything, but it's not like totally.
There's some funnies in there.
You know what I'm saying? So get the book and read it. And she's also a financial wealth strategist. You can call her and she can tell you how to make some money. 'cause we all need money and everything. So we need that. So we want to thank you, Lynette, again.
Thank you so much.
But
Thank you for
coming
having me.
on, taking the time, to join us. And, hopefully we get to see you in person. We know you in Washington it is.
Maryland, yeah.
Maryland, you're in Maryland.
Yes.
So you'll come to New York and see us.
Yes, I will.
And hopefully we might get down to Maryland also as well.
Yes.
So we want to thank you for joining us today. And we want to thank, the audience for joining us. And if you have a loved one, someone in your family that has dementia or is coming on, start thinking about what you have to do. Start talking to the family, come to some decision as to what you're going to do when it gets to that final stage, or so you don't be at the last minute trying to decide what we need to do as a family or whatever. So thank you again for joining us. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Would you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Faith Art Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world.
It's Shannon.